Welcome back to another episode of Time Out with the Sports Doctor podcast. And no matter if this is your first episode or if you have been with us since episode number 1, we are very glad to have you here. I truly believe that this podcast is better because of you. So first, I want you to go to the website, Dr.Derrick, thesportsdoctor.com. Find that link in the show notes and go to the website because that's where you can find all the content. Also, register for our bi-weekly email that goes out that gives you all the updates and any behind the scenes information. And the other thing, make sure that you're following us on Instagram and on YouTube because YouTube is our new outlet. We've had it for 6 months now. It is a fast growing place where you can get all the content, the audio and the video. So however you want to consume content, we're trying to make that available for you on this podcast. And we're very glad to have you here. So stay tuned for this episode. All right, so on this week's episode, it's just going to be a solo episode. We're doing another book review. I think we've done 3 so far. And actually, last time I did a book review, I was able to bring the actual author on. So who knows, maybe that'll happen again. So, if I needed confirmation whether or not this is a word that you guys, I wanted to share with you all, I got that confirmation because I recorded this episode, started back listening to it, and the audio was horrible because of poor connection. So, anytime you're trying to do something good, you're going to have to expect a little resistance. So here we go. So, I'm going to make sure we still get through this. And because I know that this word will be able to impact someone's life. So the book that we will be reviewing today is Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is a book where we're talking about, this is something that can transform lives. I know how impactful it's been for me. And I expect that some others will find this impactful as well. So I'll start off with that. If you're having trouble changing your habits, you're not the problem, it's your systems. So, many times we get down on ourselves, we set goals, we set resolutions, and we try to concentrate on them and they fail. We're at that time of the year. They say most resolutions fail during the month of January, something about the first 3 weeks or so. But if that's you, it's still fine. You don't have to just wait until 2024 to get your life together because this is a day-to-day process and it's a day-to-day grind that we have to get through. So what I'm going to do, as I go through the book, I was taking notes, but I'm not going to bore you with all the notes that I took. I'm just going to give you the top 5 or 6 takeaways from what I read in the book. So number 1, when we think of atomic habits, it's not atomic warfare or nuclear warfare. This is not just a complete, explosion where you're going to wake up one day and your life's going to be completely different. By atomic, he means atoms. And we know from science that atoms are the basic building blocks of matter, right? Remember your protons and your neutrons and the electrons and the nucleus, they're all parts of the atoms, but the atoms are very basic units. So we're talking about the basic habits, the basic building blocks of who you are, of your identity, of the behaviors that you want to create. So the first thing we're going to talk about is be more concerned about your trajectory than your current location. I thought that was very profound because many times you can be, let's talk about rankings. If you're ranked number 5 for someone, that's good. For someone, that's bad because someone was ranked number 1. Now they're currently ranked number 5, or someone might have been ranked number 100. Now they're ranked number 5. So being ranked number 5, while it might be good, it's more important. Where's your trajectory? Are you headed in the right direction? Are you doing the right actions to make you progress instead of regress? So be more concerned about your trajectory than your current location. Your outcome is a lagging measure of your habits. And then the threshold of latent potential. I think that's a very important concept where you say small improvements accumulate and lead to large changes. We kind of talked about the example of, if you improve 1% each day or 1% each month, I believe by the end of the year, I would think the calculation was 37% improvement. However, if you could regress 1%, there's going to be a large regression or failure at the end of the year. So the threshold of latent potential, as I mentioned, small improvements accumulate and lead to large changes. And then after a critical threshold is reached, rapid change takes place. So many times we give up right at that time when, I've been working out. I'm not seeing the weight loss. I've been working out. My body's not transforming. But there's a certain amount of work that you have to get in, and then you start to see large changes, rapid changes. So the most powerful outcomes are usually delayed. And he used the example of the stone cutter hammering on a rock. And you see him hammering on a rock. And if you walk up on strike 101 and you see the rock break, did it really break because of the 101st time he struck the stone, or was it an added accumulation of the first 100 strikes? And we know that, it's the 100 strikes that weaken the rock. So the 101st strike would break the rock. So number 2, goals are results you want to achieve. Systems are processes that lead to results. So goals are the results you want to achieve, where systems are the processes that lead to results. So which is more important? Many times we set goals without action steps. I want to earn this amount of money. I want to lift this amount of weight. But you can say that over and over and over again. If you don't have action steps, is it going to happen? So the point he made is, if you ignored your goals and focused on the systems, would you still achieve the goals? Versus if you just focus on the goals without having systems, are you going to achieve that goal? So goals help set the direction, but systems help make progress. So goals help set the direction, but systems help make progress. Goals create either or concept for you. And that can restrict your happiness. So what he means by either or concept, so I say I want to lose 20 pounds. Either I'm going to lose 20 pounds or I'm not going to lose 20 pounds. If I don't lose 20 pounds, then my head's hung low, this diet's not working, my changes aren't working, or I lose 20 pounds. And then I high five everyone. And what do? I go right back to my old ways. So goals sometimes can restrict you in that manner. Whereas if you put systems in place to have a healthier living, and you can lose 20 pounds and continue. So goals help set that direction, but systems help make the progress. And then the purpose of a goal is to win the game, where systems help you stay in the game. So you have to have good systems, whether or not you're a business, whether or not you're just setting personal goals for yourself. You actually have to have systems or action steps to help you stay in the game. So atomic habits are regular practice or routines, the building blocks that combine to lead to remarkable results. All right, so number 3, this is a very good one. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. All right, and then, well, that was just number 2 still. So moving on, 4th step to building better habits. So behaviors treated by good consequences are more likely to be repeated. Habits are mental shortcuts learned through experience. So he broke it down into the habit loop, and it has 4 parts. So you have cues, cravings, response, and rewards. So what's meant by that? So what are cues? So cues are, marketing, billboards. Walking into certain areas, you start to think about certain things. So let's just say I'm driving down the street and I see this Chick-fil-A sign. That's a cue. What craving does that bring about? Oh, wow, chicken nuggets, fries, milkshake. So what's my response to that? Let me swerve across, get in a long line, and place this order. And then what's the reward? The reward is eating the chicken, the feeling that you get drinking the milkshake, whatever. By me saying that, somebody's already starting to crave having Chick-fil-A. So that's why marketing is so powerful. They know how to get certain cues to make you crave things. So what he mentioned is, when you're trying to create habit loops, you want to have rewards to your actions. But if you're trying to break a bad habit, then you want to make it painful, or you want to make that habit, if you do it, link it to something that's painful. All right, so moving on. He mentioned this family, the Polgar Sisters, and the family decided that, hey, we want to raise our children to be champion chess players. So how do you do that? Is it because they had a certain genetic makeup? Now, we know that genes can make you more likely to be better at something. However, what he's talking about is you are a product of your environment. So what this family did, they set up, basically a chess academy at their home. They had chess boards all over the place. They started the kids playing chess at a very early age. They studied the history of chess. They had them in competitions. They studied their competitors and broke down the process, and they learned, really learned the movements of their competitors. And what happened? The daughters became world champions. So we tend to mimic three groups: those that are close to us, the many or the population, going with the flow, and the powerful. So our friends and family provide unconscious peer pressure on us. So you should join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. If you want to work out, that's the whole part of joining a gym or joining a workout group, because you want that behavior that you're desiring to be the norm instead of being an outsider. Now, why is that? Because community helps with changing identity, the we mentality. There is an internal pressure to be a part of a group, and many would rather be wrong with the crowd than right by themselves. So you have to choose the right crowds that you're hanging out with, the right crowds that you're investing with, the right crowds that you're sharing your dreams with. You want people that are going to be able to help you get to where you want to be versus pulling you away from where you want to be. Many times it's hard, especially when this is your identity. This is what the Burgess family does. This is what whoever does. This is who we are. But sometimes you have to let go of that old identity to really be able to embrace a new identity. All right. So pleasure teaches your brain a behavior is worth repeating. What is punished is avoided. And also they talked about immediate rewards versus delayed rewards. Many times your vices will have immediate rewards where good habits tend to have delayed gratification. And habit tracking. People who track their progress are more likely to reach their goals. When evidence is right in front of you, less likely that you will lie to yourself. And it feels satisfactory as you start to put some checks and boxes. And it helps you stay focused on the process. And another thing is that, when we create these habits, they become like muscle memory. It decreases the amount of mental effort that you have to do when you're actually performing that habit. However, over time, a good habit can become a bad habit. So we have to continue to review our habits so that we do not become complacent or do not become stagnant and still be open to change. So habits plus deliberate practice equals mastery. You must review your habits to not become complacent. Ask, what did I do well? What did I do wrong? And what did I learn from it? Or what do I need to change? Your identity can hold you back from changing your new, better solutions. Don't let one identity define you. And that's one thing that we talk about on this podcast many times is you are more than your sport. You are more than your job. You are more than your title. But many times with that identity, we can have, the ability to perform at a very high level in one thing. But when we start to think about how do I do business, how do I invest, we just shut down and we have imposter syndrome. How can I ever achieve to that level of success? Or I'm not worthy of where I am. I just got here by chance. So the mental part of it is very big when you're creating habits. So atomic habits, tiny changes lead to remarkable results. It's the habits that you put in place today will determine the results later. Remember, your outcomes are lagging measures of your habits. So I felt that this was a book that was very impactful for me. Let me know what you think. Please give me feedback. If this was something that you want to hear more of, hey, let me know. If you want to maybe form a club that we can go through some books together and discuss them, that's an idea. I'm very open to new ideas. This podcast continues to grow and, I want to adapt it and not just be stagnant. So give me feedback. I appreciate the reviews. I appreciate the support. and we're going to continue to grow and build together. So until the next episode, peace.
Thank you for continuing to support this podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star review. And if you haven't done so, subscribe so you continue to get the updated episodes. Until later, peace.
Time out with the sports doctor. Keep our head right in the game. We ain't never stopping. You are now tuned in. Trust you don't want to miss. This is where life, sports, and medicine